It's that time again, guys. It's that time to go deep once again.
And here we go.
We will not go back. I see you, buddy. We will not go back. We will not go back. We will not go back. We will not go.
Yes, it is about to get absolutely insane. It is about to get absolutely crazy. It's going to be pretty freaking hot. Guys, what's up? John Claymore here. And I know that this is like the third time that I've talked about this topic on this channel, at least in the past week or so. But we got to talk about these loony protesters who have obviously been told to go after the two weakest justices on the actual court. Those right there being Kavanaugh and Roberts. Of course, these are the two weakest conservatives. These are the ones who are most inept to, I don't know, I guess their minds being changed. I personally think that Kavanaugh will probably stand up on this one right here and actually stand his ground on this one, but we'll talk about that here a little bit later. But this video right here, for the most part, is about the looniness and the absolute insanity that is going on and that's about to occur. And, of course, I'm also going to touch on Joe Biden's, how do I say, his comment about the MAGA crowd being the most extreme movement. By the way, that's kind of like a deplorables comment. So, if anything, that's just going to motivate more and more people against you, Joe. Very, very, very smart decision on you. Also, something else, too, though. There'll be links in the description box of this video. There'll also be a video from actual Justice Warrior to talk about Anna Kasparian's meltdown from the other day. I'm just going to give you guys a bit of a taste of that right now.
When they have to go to work, what do you want them to do? What do you want them to do? I want them to answer that freaking question. Answer the question. Journalists, ask them the question. Ask them. Ask them.
Well, one thing you could do, Anna, is that you could stop shrilling like a damn crazy chick. I mean, it's not exactly an attractive look. Also, to go along with that freaking fake-ass nose that you have there. But we'll be talking about her and Jink and the absolute loony crowd, the Young Turks, here shortly. But I want to talk about the craziness and talk about why this is going the way it is. You see, this entire ordeal was leaked by a staffer. We believe that staffer to be someone that was on Justice Sonia Sotomayor's team. Now, obviously, they would have leaked this information to try to get people out to go ahead and go vote. The problem is that, and as Red Eagle Politics explained the other day on his channel, the problem here is that if this right here is your October surprise, you're releasing it a little bit too early. Also, something else, too, the Senate wants to go ahead and vote on this issue and go ahead and codify it into law. Now, we will be talking about why it is that conservatives are actually, how do you say, very, very jubilant about this. Of course, I would tell people to stay calm a little bit because we don't know what's going to happen. But now they want to go ahead and take this thing to the United States Senate and the United States Congress. Now, as I've explained in a previous video, that this right here would not work because you've got to have 60 votes to end the filibuster, and then you got to have 60 votes to codify it into law. They don't have this, but of course Ben Shapiro's boy Mitt Romney, along with Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski, will probably vote to make Roe V Wade law, even though you got to have 60 votes to actually make it law. So all these protests are absolutely insane. By the way, guys, one of the things about that Anna Kasparian meltdown that she does not understand, you see, when she was attacking the Democrats in that entire ordeal, she did it from a place of absolute ignorance. Here's the reason why. Yes, these people were absolutely stupid, and they plan on running on this later on this year. But here's the thing that Anna does not understand. Something like the voting rights legislation that she was complaining about them not getting done, which, by the way, is absolutely stupid because if you, just about everybody in the country has got the right to vote, so don't even start with that right there. This right here, and of course the abortion stuff, you would have to have 60 votes. She leads her audience to believe that you only need 51 votes, but in reality you need 60. So right then and there, you already know that the radical left does not understand politics. I mean, these people actually believe that this country is an actual democracy. It's not a democracy. It is a democratic republic. And to add to that, we've got Chief Lying in the face. Yes, Elizabeth Warren, Miss 1024th is what I like to call her. She decides to go on the Sunday shows and say this crap right here.
We're past the time when we can look in the rearview mirror. We just don't have the luxury of that. The question is, what are we going to do now? What are we going to do today and tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day? Remember, the Supreme Court is not the ones that will get the final word on Roe versus Wade. It is Congress that gets the final word. We have the capacity to keep Roe versus Wade as the law of the land. And if we act, then we can do that. So to me, this is all about the focus on what we're...
Right there, they are gaslighting you into believing that this right here can become law with one simple vote in the United States Senate. Okay, I don't think that these people seem to understand. Well, definitely their audience. You got to understand something right quick. people like Elizabeth Warren, people like Jink, who, by the way, I think is a bad actor, people that like Chuck Schumer, who talked about this the other day, they know that this right here would take 60 votes because it's an actual law. Okay, it's an actual law, an actual piece of legislation. You can't just pass legislation with 51 votes. You can pass Supreme Court justices with 51 votes, but you can't pass, and you can also pass certain budgets, but you cannot pass anything in actual law without 60 votes in the United States Senate. Like I said, only certain things can be passed with 51 votes with a simple majority. And of course, the Democrats are probably going to lose that majority this year. What's probably going to happen is that they're probably going to vote on this, get struck down. They'll probably get 52 or 53 votes because, like I said, there'll be at least 2 or 3 Republicans who will cross Ben Shapiro's boy, Mitt Romney, who, by the way, who he is still not denounced. By the way, it's still Ann Coulter's boy, too. Okay, just want to go ahead and throw that out there, too, that Ann Coulter has yet to actually denounce Mitt Romney as well. But don't worry, Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski will still vote on that. And there may be even one more who decides to stab his base in the back. Of course, we'll see on that right there. But as you guys can tell, I think that they're intentionally trying to dumb down the base. You see, they're trying to motivate people to go out there and get them the 60 votes, the massive supermajority they need. And, of course, based on our actual map itself, yeah, it's going to be kind of hard for them to do. Now to Creepy Joe.
Because this MAGA crowd is really the most extreme political organization that's existed in American history. And recent.
Joe, I don't know if you've been paying it. Well, actually, you have been paying attention. Let's be honest. Like I said before, these people here are professional liars. They know that they are doing wrong. They do it on purpose. They do it intentionally to a very, very dumbed down audience that's not been that engaged as of late because the left has not exactly been getting any victories or anything that's actually kept them engaged. I mean, outside of Elon Musk buying Twitter, outside of the Roe v. Wade ruling, of course, now they want to cancel student loan debt, which, by the way, is an absolutely horrible idea because then you're making a bunch of taxpayers who did not go to college pay for other people's tax debt. Like I said, these people are completely lazy and they don't have any actual honest-to-God accountability. And don't worry, we will speak about that shortly. But the thing is this right here, Joe. Don't you remember all of 2020, all the riots, all the BLM nonsense, the Antifa violence? I mean, but yet we're extremists. We're extremists because of a couple of stupid droogs who, by the way, and I'll say this right now, that ordeal on 1/6, let's just go ahead and be honest. We have the proof that Antifa did usurp it. But of course, if I share that proof right here on YouTube because of YouTube's actual algorithm and their censorship crap, their community protocol, I can't exactly throw that out here. But let's go ahead and let's just go ahead and keep this thing going. Now to Jink. So Jink Younger, once again, he had another one of his little meltdowns. And of course, we all know about the whole Dami Paces video. We all know what happened in 2016 when he absolutely blew up and he went freaking crazy when Trump won. Don't worry. I'll place that video also in the description box in the comment section as well. So that way you guys can watch it and revel in it and absolutely laugh at the hilarity of it. But then Jink goes out there and of all the things that he said, this right here is the thing that stuck out to me.
When we warned you. But no, you're going to give them away because the Republicans are evil. They hate our democracy. They hate our rights. And the number one thing that right-wingers want to do is lord power over us. And then they do that BS projection where they say, oh, the liberals just want to control your lives. We want you to get the hell out of our lives. We want you to get the hell out of our lives. We don't want you. We don't like you. We don't want your jackbooted thugs in the goddamn government controlling our...
Jink, we would actually prefer it. We would actually prefer it if you were not anywhere near us, okay? We actually would prefer it if you guys were not in our lives, aggravating us, virtue signaling all the time. It would actually make us happy if you guys took off. But seeing how the vast majority of you guys are confined to cities, if you actually knew this, which by the way, Jink does know this, he's trying to gaslight his audience to go out there and go burn the cities down again, like in 2020, the same way he did in 2020. I hope you guys are kind of picking up on this. But here's the one comment that Jink has made that has always stuck with me.
If I were the benevolent dictator of the world, I would legalize bestiality where you are giving, where you are pleasuring the animal. You see what I'm saying? Okay, horse, and the horse came to a conclusion, right? So who got harmed?
Bestiality. Bestiality. The man is okay with bestiality. The man is okay with that right there. You see, these right here are the sick-ass loons who are pushing all these riots. These are the sick-ass loons who are pushing all these protests. Of course, as I may have said in the beginning of the video, they're pushing all the protests on the 2 weak justices because they know they're not going to sway Clarence Thomas. They know they're not going to sway Judge Alito. They know they're not going to sway Neil Gorsuch. They know they're not going to sway Amy Coney Barrett. Of course, they decided to focus in on the 2 weakest ones, Kavanaugh and Roberts. My opinion is if anybody is actually swayed, it is Roberts. But back to Cenk really quick and back to Anna. You see, in that actual Justice Warrior video, Sean shows Anna's full meltdown. And Anna, just quite frankly, shows you that she's really nothing more than common street trash. Yes, she did come from a wealthy family. Yes, she is actually Armenian, which, by the way, in my opinion, is absolutely hilarious because you see Cenk is of Turkish origin. You see Cenk's background is actually, his family is from Turkey. Cenk Uygur denies that the Armenian genocide even occurred. Okay, now how low class of a woman have you got to be for it to work for a man? By the way, she's Armenian. She's Armenian, and she's working for a guy who's Turkish, who, by the way, denies the Armenian genocide. Yes, it was the Turks. The Young Turks is actually what they were called. The name of the actual, he actually bought that name. He actually bought the rights to that name. They are the ones who completely wiped out a whole generation of Anna's ancestry and her past. How low class of a person, how low class of a human being have you got to be to work with a man that is pro-bestiality and is also denies his people wiping out your people? I mean, very, very low class individual this is. Sort of check him on something. You see, Cenk put out a tweet the other day saying that right-wingers actually believe that these babies are being killed. I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys are seeing the tweet. Let's go ahead and debunk that, guys.
Exactly what would happen. The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother. So I think this was really blown out of proportion.
So the suggestion that we've made in the bill is to say it's in the third trimester and at the, with the certification of the physician. So
how late in the third trimester would you be able to do that?
It's very unfortunate that our physicians, witnesses, were not able to attend.
How late in the third trimester could a physician perform an abortion if he indicated it would impair the mental health of the woman?
Or physical health.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm talking about the mental health.
So, through the third trimester. The third trimester goes all the way up to 40 weeks.
Okay. But to the end of the third trimester.
Yep.
Yes, Cenk, in some states like Colorado and Virginia, it's going on. New York, quite frankly, they allow it all the way up. I think it's like third trimester abortions, what they allow. At this point in time, you're not exactly doing an abortion anymore. What you're actually doing is actually infanticide. You're actually killing a kid. But then again, though, Cenk, you deny the Armenian genocide, so that doesn't really surprise me. Also, once again, I got to remind people that Cenk is all about bestiality. But here's something else, too. And this is something that the Young Turks will never, ever tell you, especially especially the mainstream media. They always gloss over this. You see, Roe v. Wade, overturning Roe v. Wade would just simply send it back to the states. Meaning, if you live in the state of Florida, for example, and you don't like us conservatives, you could move to like New York and get what the hell you want. I highly advise you don't get an abortion. I highly advise you actually take some freaking responsibility and actually raise the child. Or you could at least give the child up for adoption. There are several people right now out there on a waiting list who actually want an actual child to actually raise because you're such a darn turd that you can't raise on your own. But then again, if you don't want the kid, you probably should just give the kid up for adoption. But here's something else people need to understand. The lady, Jane Roe's real name was Norma McCloskey. Now, there's a lot of confusion here. She was used in the case, the original Supreme Court case, okay? She would later on go get baptized, become a Christian, and then turn right back around and tell people that she actually lied during the case. So, essentially, Roe v. Wade was based off a lie. Then she turned right back around and stated that she did all this stuff right here for money. Then she said that the anti-abortion crowd paid her to lie. So we don't really and truly know who's actually telling the truth here. My suggestion is that Jane Roe is just a good old-fashioned common whore. As you guys can see, she changes her mind all the time for money, which, by the way, is what whores do. And to all you women out there who are on the pro-abortion train, who are out there protesting and saying you're going to go on stuff like a sex strike, let me ask you a question. Are you attractive enough to where it would actually affect an actual man? I mean, look, I know I'm not the most attractive guy in the world, but still at the same time, though, are you actually? And I mean, look at some of this stuff right here. Transgender claims they had a baby which come from another transgender sperm donor. I mean, look. And you guys can see this right here with the TikTok rolls, especially. Go back and look at that girl who says that they wish that their mom had have aborted them. I mean, this right here is a special type of insanity. I mean, a special type of lunacy that I don't think the world has ever really and truly dealt with. And something else too. And this entire thing boils down to one thing and one thing only. It's the fact that the parents, the people who raised these kids, they probably weren't right themselves. I mean, they were very, very irresponsible parents who probably did not get involved with their kids' lives. And of course, as a result of this, they've now got a bunch of angry little leftist woke morons out there, of course, as kids running around doing this crap. You don't seem to realize exactly how dangerous it is. Now, guys, while you guys are watching all this footage, of course, some of this right here is people on TikTok who were upset about abortion. Some of this stuff right here came from Libs of TikTok, by the way. Of course, this right here, one of these right here came from another site that I got a hold of. Don't worry, I'll link it in the description box. The actual video itself of these people out here protesting. And, of course, you've got your conservatives out here, the whole MAGA crowd that Joe Biden calls the extremists, are just simply praying in front of a church. Just a bunch of Catholics out there just praying, of course, just praying to God, thanking God that Roe V Wade just may be overturned. Of course, I've made my thoughts clear that I don't think you should actually I think you guys should pump the brakes on that yet and just wait until June to actually see if a decision is made. But here's the deal. Abortion, I want you guys to think about this real quick. This entire thing could be avoided in one little circumstance. Just one little area it could be, actually multiple, but one in particular. Buy a freaking condom. Okay, put a freaking condom on your boyfriend, okay? Put a condom on him, okay? It's just very, very simple. You know, I mean, I understand condoms are only 85% effective. If that right there is not enough for you, then just don't freaking have sex. Don't have sex with random dudes, okay? I understand somebody in the comment section is going to say, well, men, they go out there and sleep around. Okay, I understand. Men screw around. There are a bunch of dumbass men out there, too. But, ladies, don't just throw your legs open to the first freaking guy that you see, okay? Just because you guys got the glitter effect don't mean that you have to actually go out there and go screw with whatever the hell you see or the first dude that you run into. I mean, there are some guys that are absolutely skeezy, and the ones who are upset about Roe v. Wade possibly being overturned are normally the worst type of men in the world. Let me go ahead and explain something to you guys right now. Nice men and male feminists are the worst two types of guys you could actually get a hold of, okay? They're also the first ones that would leave you at the first drop of a hat. I'm talking about nice guys. I mean nice guys, not cool guys. I'm talking about guys who are disingenuous, dudes who claim that they are nice, but in reality they are not. They're actually really cowards. They would run from you. They coddle you. They don't stand up to you. If you're going to actually find a man who wants to be with you, get a man that will actually stand up to you. Chances are, more times than not, he's going to stand up to you and put up with you, and you'll learn and grow as a person, which, by the way, most of these women out here have not done, as you guys are seeing through some of the footage. Some of these people look absolutely insane. I mean, if there's any men out there asking, ask yourself a question. Do any of these women look attractive enough for you to actually bone? Ladies, I understand that I'm going a little bit misogynistic here, but I want you guys to ask yourself a question too. Do these women even look attractive to even get a man? By the way, if a man thinks that a woman may abort his child, he's not going to want anything to do with her, because most men, when they have a kid, most good men, bear in mind I said good, not nice, because most nice men are not really and truly nice. But most good men, if they get you pregnant, they will stay with you and raise the child. And like I said before, you could also give the child up for adoption. This right here breeds a lack of accountability. By the way, and this right here is where we're going to get towards the end of this video, is that you cannot preach morality. You cannot say that you have the moral high ground when you are okay with a grown-ass man claiming that they are a woman so that way they can go use a woman's bathroom. Okay, do you have any idea the risk alone with that right there, what could possibly happen, the sexual assault, the rapes that could happen, the stuff that could occur? You can't have the moral high ground when you tell us that a grown-ass man can pretend to be a woman and then turn right back around and go jump in a pool and compete against a bunch of women who are on scholarship who have no choice but to compete to keep their scholarship and have to go along with the narrative because dude can't place in the top 500 against his own sex. You can't have the moral high ground when you then turn right back around during all of this nonsense and say, well, you know what, I'm going to pretend to be a woman so I can go inside of an octagon and beat the hell out of a woman who's been training her entire life to be good at what she is doing. You can't claim the moral high ground and then turn right back around and act like this right here. By the way, as I've mentioned before, this right here, for the most part, is pushed by our media. It's pushed by our establishment media, and it's even pushed by our left-wing media online, on the internet. People like the Young Turks, people like freaking Secular Talk. These people push this type of crap, And what they're really doing is that they're pushing these young people to ruin for the rest of their life. Let me go ahead and end this little segment on this note right here. And I want you guys to pay very, very close attention to this. Okay, and I'm going to get religious here for a second. To me, the greatest sin ever created was the first sin, okay? When Eve ran into the serpent in the Garden of Eden, the serpent, which by the way, as we know, was Lucifer, it was actually the devil. The serpent promised Eve that if she ate of the forbidden fruit, that Eve would not go to hell, it would be okay, God would be okay with this, and of course, God was not okay with this, okay? And by the way, I mean, she was just manipulated. She was manipulated by Lucifer. She was manipulated by the serpent, by the snake. She was manipulated. You see, manipulation, in my opinion, is the greatest sin that could ever be committed. Because what you're doing is you're manipulating a person into their own ruin. You're manipulating them not only into their own actual physical ruin, but their own mental and emotional ruin as a whole. You're ruining their soul. I want you guys to think yourself a question. Ask yourself this question right here. You've been promised all this freedom, all this good stuff, only to realize that your soul erodes in the process, because you cannot have full freedom without some measure of responsibility, which is, by the way, the only reason why Roe V Wade activists who are screaming for abortion are even out there. They just don't want the freaking responsibility, and they are somewhat sycophantic by the whole notion of the fact that they want to even bother with killing a child. Look, I understand you don't believe it's a child, but just have the child and just give the child up for adoption, okay? Just do that right there. I mean, this entire stuff has got to stop. It's gone way too far. And as you guys are seeing, we're paying for this now because we did not correct this issue back in the 60s and the 1970s. And guys, this right here is where I'm going to end the video at. You see, at the end of the day, this entire thing boils down to accountability, personal accountability, okay? Like I said, freedom is a great thing, and I love freedom. Freedom of speech, be able to own a weapon, personal freedom. I agree with that, okay? 100%. I'm all about freedom. I am as patriotic a person as I know, which, by the way, may sound a little bit funny, but the thing is right here, this is right here. If you're going to have actual freedom, you need to have some actual responsibility too. And these people, these abortion activists, these people are out here protesting on the lawns of our Supreme Court justice. By the way, you're basically showing us right there that you have no respect for our institutions. The same institutions, by the way, that you have lived in, that have actually coaxed you, that has raised you, that has helped you get along, and you're spitting on that like it's absolutely nothing. The entire thing boils down to a lack of accountability and the fact that you people do not want to take any responsibility at all in any aspect of your life. You want to go out there and just screw randomly, but yet you don't want to wear a condom. Do you guys realize how many STDs could pop up as a result of this? Do you guys realize exactly how much bad shit could happen? And by the way, our media is leading these people to their actual honest-to-God ruin, not just physically, but in their personal lives, in their careers, I mean, emotionally and mentally. And also spiritually. Guys, John Claymore here. If you like the content, hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sign up in the comment section. These are just my thoughts. Make sure you guys leave your thoughts in the comment section. I'll see you guys later.
This morning about a lady's 14-year-old daughter crying, asking what has happened to our country, and that she feels powerless over Roe V Wade. If your 14-year-old daughter is crying and feels powerless that she may not be able to get an abortion one day, you have failed as a parent. I saw a post this morning about a lady's 14-year-old daughter crying, asking what has happened to our country, and that she feels powerless over Roe V Wade. If your 14-year-old daughter is crying and feels powerless that she may not be able to get an abortion one day, you have failed as a parent.